Hey Andrew, my mate Angry sent me details on this incredible concert.
Your mate Angry? Don't you remember he told you not to give up on your day job?
Yeah, I know, but that was singing. I've had singing lessons since then, though.
Okay. So what did Angry say?
Well, Rose Tattoo and Electric Mary are supporting Black Rebel Motorcycle Club, Bush, Stone Temple Pilots and Cheap Trick for the Under the Southern Stars tour.
Far out. Sounds freaking epic. Where's it been held?
Well, pretty much everywhere. Check out the dates.
Wow, this concert's literally been 3 years in the making. This time, COVID's not going to be stopping it. It's going to be the first time international artists have graced our shores since 2020.
I know, we can't wait. So if you want to find out more information, head over to badboysfm.com.
And check out the gig locations, dates and the ticket links.
Plus, the Bad Boys are giving away 5 double passes to see these epic bands at one of the places that they're playing.
Head over to badboysfm.com and enter your chance to rock out with your sock out.
I'll be rocking out. Maybe a duet on stage with Angry and the Rosy Tats. I'm a bad boy. Bad boy for love.
Oh, for God's sake, help me please. Under the Southern Stars, supported by the real rock station, Bad Boys FM. Music with attitude.
The Bad Boys Podcast brought to you by Man Up Down Under, high-performing underwear that cups your junk like the soft hands of an angel. Visit manupdownunder.com.au. Today on the show, banned for drinking a beer on a footy field. It's just not Australian.
Disney's new ride, The Lion Chase. Just add toddlers.
And Scott Morrison's a turkey.
Tell me something I don't know. All that and more on the Bad Boys Podcast.
If you want the hard-hitting journalism of Four Corners, the reliable current affairs of, well, a current affair, and the planning that goes into classy shows like The Project, then you've tuned into the wrong podcast. It's comedy, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and news stories that makes Fox News sound like an episode of The Muppets. Or maybe it's the other way around. Conversations no one wants to have, but everyone wants to hear. This is the Bad Boys Podcast. Welcome to the Bad Boys Podcast. And, we always have this thing about we're dancing at the start, or I'm not, but Andrew's always bobbing his head.
You look like you're having a fit, mate. Like, seriously, you're like that well and truly drunk, absolutely inebriated uncle that's been electrified on the dance floor at the wedding while he's, shirts untucked and stuff.
Well, everyone knows I'm a bit of a sim, right? And
sure, yes.
Okay, and for those who don't understand, Sims are cartoon characters in a video game. If you haven't seen The Sims, you've been living under a rock. And basically, they can move forward and left and right, and that's it. But they can't sort of bend, so you can't bend around a corner or, manipulate your body in any way. So if you're dancing with your whole body, which is kind of what I do, right?
Apparently it's also the reason why you don't see Sims giving blowjobs all that often.
Probably because they can't bend.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, right? So the other night, Reef had put his backpack on the hook, and there wasn't a lot of space between that and the stairs. So all night going to the toilet, get up, go to the toilet. What do? I walk into that fucking backpack every single time. I don't know how many times I did that. Obviously, I went to the toilet a lot that night. The joys of old age. So anyway, I finally decided to move it. I've moved this backpack because I kept walking into it all night.
I mean, navigating stationary objects is difficult.
It's hard.
Look, I'll give you that.
It is hard. Anyway, so Tanya stopped and said, maybe I shouldn't have married a Sim. Maybe only Sims should marry Sims. And I went, wow, that's a little bit prejudiced, isn't it? That's a little
I
bit,
know, it's
a little bit
Simmons,
racist. Yeah.
It's an interesting point, though.
Yeah,
That's why Michelle married me, because I'm also dead sexy. So it kind of works.
You've got that nice balance. No, I think you should be able to marry the complete polar opposite to you. It makes things interesting.
I think it actually works.
I think so too.
Michelle and I have a lot of things in common, but we are polar opposites in a lot of things. She doesn't like conflict. I'm completely comfortable with conflict. She's got a cold sort of body. She's this petite little thing, and I've got a really hot body. Like my body is always running hot, whereas her body's always running cold. Like we have similar tastes in music, although I probably like things that are a little heavier, a little harder. So I'm a car person. I'm crazy about my cars and stuff like that. Not in a mechanical sense, but I do like nice cars. She probably couldn't tell the difference between a Lamborghini and a Camry.
Yeah,
In fact, she has difficulty telling the front and the back for most cars.
And there's massive differences with Tanya and I. I mean, she's good looking. I'm not. You know.
But hey, how often do you see these really hot babes and you sit back and go, "What the fuck's going on there? Why is she with him?" But it works.
No, actually, no, I think I'm a catch.
Well, from what I hear, she thinks you're a catch too, mate. So good for her.
That's right. You know, and imagine if we were both Sims. You know. I mean, sexy time just wouldn't be that sexy, would it?
Yeah, well, I'm not too sure even how that works. My son and his girlfriend talk about being Sims and stuff a bit, because they're both into computer games and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's weird.
My kids started that first. They were the ones that said, "Oh, yeah, Shane's a Sim. He's an absolute Sim."
As opposed to a simp.
Well, maybe they said simp. I don't know. maybe I mistook. Maybe I completely missed what they said, and they've just followed along. They've gone, okay, let's just go with the sim. That's fine, maybe. Hey, now I was reading this story about this AFL player that's been banned, and talking about the simple life in Darwin. He's been banned because he was chugging a beer on the field. Now,
right? So
come on,
okay, chugging's a bit of a stretch. So, yes, this guy was playing footy on the field, running around, and a spectator came onto the field with a beer, what from what I can gather would look like a schooner, and basically gave it to him on the field after he kicked a goal or something.
Yeah.
It was a celebration thing. And look, I've got to say, there is nothing more Australian.
Oh, so he took a glass cup out onto the field. Okay.
From what I can gather,
hang on. We're complaining about the fact he had a beer, but they took glass onto the field. So, let's forget about that bit. Whatever.
Hey, look, maybe it was one of those fancy plastic cups. They like to do it fancy up there.
Right, yeah.
Right. But, I mean, this is Darwin.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got to let the viewers know a few things about Darwin. First of all, beer runs out of the tap in Darwin.
Yep.
Because the water's really shit.
Yeah, and it's like their Gatorade, halftime beer.
Right. You're right. Exactly. That's it. Look, so this guy runs onto the field, gives the player a beer. He has a swig, right? And it was a sip, really. He wasn't going nuts. And then he sort of celebrated it, blah, 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 blah.
Well, hang on.
Cheered.
Things are bigger. When you say a sip, things are bigger in the Northern Territory. I mean, like the Darwin Stubby is a 2-litre bottle, for goodness sake, right? So, I mean...
Right. So a schooner's a bit like a thimble over there.
That's right. So it could have been a pretty big sip.
Yeah, but look, Darwin, men in Darwin particularly hard men like we are here on the Bad Boys podcast, hard men over there come home from work, put the injection in, hook the intravenous line up to the
keg that they've got.
forget a beer or whatever like that, but to the keg. It's their way of cooling down, having beer running directly through the bloodstream and all that sort of stuff. And in fact, it's better for them than a lot of other things like water. Yeah,
and you got to think about Darwin. There's 2 seasons in Darwin. There's hot and wet and hot and dry. I mean, it's always
pretty
hot.
Much.
So, I mean, a beer...
How are they not all fucking crazy?
Oh,
I mean, stark raving, fucking pants off, headbutting police cars crazy.
No, they do. They reach... There's a time called the silly season, which is no, it is true. It's where it's been just hot all summer, and it hasn't... actually, all winter, sorry. Hot and dry all winter. And then just as it starts to rain... Right, everyone's just going nuts, and then it rains, and then they just go completely over the top. You know, I mean, I'm talking about streaking in the streets and, you know, all that sort of stuff, yeah. It's like the rain's here.
Nice. Well, you know what you said. You've never been bad until you've run around the streets with a beer box on your head and your underpants high on banana muffins. But
I thought you actually said that because you were in Northern Territory.
Well, actually, no, that was good old Canberra. But Canberra has its own issues. And I was young and stupid at the time. Now I'm just old and stupid. But look, Darwin, so this guy on the field drinks the thing. He was penalised. He was basically banned from the field for 2 weeks for having a sip of this beer that a spectator came on board. Yeah. And, okay, he posted online and he was saying, you know, it's all about the fans, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Good on him. But that's un-Australian, surely. I mean, really?
Yeah. I reckon so too.
Why aren't the people protesting in the fucking streets?
I think so too. If a guy can't have in the Northern Territory, can't have a beer while he's playing a game of footy, then what other joys of life are there, really? I mean, you're taking away his God-given right to just have fun.
All right. Now, if I was his lawyer, the first thing I'd be saying, how did they know it was beer?
That's right.
Isn't the water up there like that strange sort of golden colour?
It is, yeah, it is. Could have been anything.
It's like Adelaide water. It tastes like a fish's arsehole because it's coming out of the Murray, like out of a fish tank.
That's right.
The thing's got more bloody bits in it in Adelaide water than a soup does. Well, I've got to say, the Bad Boys podcast, I think we're going to have to start a bit of a campaign to give this guy his job back. Let him back on the field and maybe to allow Darwin Stubbies to be part of halftime drinks. If anything, it'll add to the entertainment of the game.
He's off for 2 weeks. Now, he probably is thinking, Ripper, I can get on the Terps for 2 weeks. I don't have to train.
Maybe he'll sit in the crowd drinking instead.
Exactly, right? So, I mean, it's a kind of a win-win. It's like you don't play, you drink. You do play, you drink still. So, I mean, yeah.
I reckon they stood him down for bringing the game into disrepute. If you ask me, he's given the game more promotion than any other game has ever had in Darwin or any other sport in Darwin. I was actually first surprised that they even played sport in Darwin.
Actually, it wasn't the drinking the alcohol that was the reason why. It was the fact that they didn't keep to the 1.5 metre rule for COVID.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, see, sharing a drink.
Sharing a beverage.
Sharing a drink. I mean, come on. Bloody hell.
What's this world coming
speaking of sharing and caring, Disneyland is sharing and caring with their animals. Now,
they've got an exciting new ride, haven't they?
God, when I read this, I just couldn't believe it. So the Lion Adventure, Animal Kingdom, right?
Yep.
The truck that everyone's on. So it's like a truck, you know. Everyone gets in. It's like one of those bus sort of things. Everyone's sitting there, and
like an open kind of kiddie train.
Yeah,
They're like longer things. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and they can see the animals wandering around, and there's kids, right? It's Disneyland, right? So there's toddlers as well. You know, so they're like, you know, let's protect them and that sort of stuff. So they put them in this, it's like a bus, open-sided bus, you know, where the kids can lean onto the rails and look at the animals. It's all great. Yep. But the truck breaks down.
Right.
So what do? Right, we're going to have to walk the rest of the way. Parents, can you just keep an eye on your toddlers there, because we are going past the wild animals, past the lion enclosure, which, I mean, it's not an enclosure.
It's soon, apparently.
It's open. It's open air, right?
Right. I mean, literally walking through a lion enclosure with toddlers and stuff like that. So it's been dubbed their new ride. The ride is called Run for Your Life, and it involves basically, strangely enough, running for your life while you're being chased by lions, tigers, and bears. I know.
The thing that gave away the seriousness of the situation was when the adults had to pick their kids up to lift them over the grid to stop the animals from getting past. Now, at that point, you would go... Until the
animals watch the humans doing that and go,
now we know how to do that.
Humans are onto something there. Funny thing, those cattle grids, those lions could jump over those fucking cattle grids with a good run-up. I've seen cows jump over cattle grids with a good run-up, and I'm telling you, you know, a ton of cow jumping over cattle grid not only is funny to watch, it defies all laws of physics, but a lion would clear that in a flash.
There was actually someone that videotaped this, right? She put it on TikTok. This is
And of course,
Caitlin.
and the staff told people to put the cameras away so that they wouldn't be filming evidence.
Yeah, exactly. 30 minutes later, right? 30 minutes they were sitting in this car. The vehicle was stopped. They were stuck in the lion enclosure. They hadn't moved. So she put this on TikTok, right? And so she goes, we're evacuating the safari. We're actually been stuck in the lion enclosure for 40 minutes now. This was 10 minutes later. She paused filming to get out of the vehicle. And then they
had to climb down on ladders to get out of the vehicle. Yeah.
Then she pans to show the length of the train. I mean, there wasn't just one or two people, right? There was a lot of people.
Each open carriage is like a bus.
Yeah.
And there were like 4 or 5 buses in this kind of connected together train thing.
Yeah. And so halfway through the park, right, they were going through the past the animals. At one point, the visitors made their way across horizontal chains in the ground, so the grids, the cattle grids. And that was when they said, oh, you're going to have to help your wife and kids across this. They were literally on a walking safari with toddlers. Now, it's kind of smart, really, I think, because if a lion's chasing you, you can literally run for your life and leave the toddler behind, right? Because the toddler's not going to run as fast. So it's
that's right. Yeah, serve it up as bait.
Yeah, exactly right. So
that's right.
It's not as silly as what it sounds. I'm just wondering how many people are going to own Disney after this one. How many people are going to sue the fuck out of Disney?
So apparently ticket sales for that particular ride have gone through the roof, particularly in the meth head community, because they sit back and they figure they can accomplish a couple of different things in one simple ride. One, they can offload their progeny. They can get their children, feed them to the lions, and then they can sue Disney for a lifetime's worth of meth. So anyway, we'll have to see how this all carries out because you're right. If this happens too often, I think we'll start doing meth head tour groups over to Disneyland as well.
Why not?
Fun for all the family.
You heard it first right here on Bad Boys Podcast.
It's not just a conspiracy theory.
This is
I'm
fact.
sure we'll make it come true. You ever been cruising down the main street with your mates only to be laughed at by the gorgeous girls passing you by? Well, maybe you need to get your own ride and leave your mum's Camry at home. Turning your cruising dreams into a reality has never been easier than it is now with Iconic Motor House. Regular draws, limited numbers, and access to special and unique deals from over 4,500 popular brands. They don't do Camrys, they only give away real men's cars, eye-catching cars that'll get them purring like a pussycat. So don't be a turkey. Go to iconicmotorhouse.com, choose how many tickets you want, and for a limited time, they'll increase your odds. It's never been easier to win a customised showpiece that will get their attention. iconicmotorhouse.com, giving you the opportunity to fulfill your motoring fantasy.
This is the Bad Boys Podcast. Welcome back to Bad Boys Podcast. Hey, Iconic Motor House, we just heard the ad. They gave their car away. They gave the black R8 away. I'm still waiting for my phone call.
Yeah, me too. But a guy by the name of Steve Adams did get the phone call and was surprised. He was just coming home after dropping off the kids at school and everything like that, and got the call that we've all been waiting for. So, look, good on you, Steve, and good on Bryce and Kurt from Iconic Motor House. They have given their first car away, and what a beautiful machine it is. It's going to be touring Queensland, which is where this Steve, up Toowoomba way, I believe. He's going to be driving it around there. So
nice.
Suddenly, there's a nice bit of main straightening happening in Toowoomba.
I reckon Steve-O's got a few mates that is going to be taken for a bit of a ride. Oh, that didn't come out right. Did it? He won't be taking it for a ride, but he'd be taking it. You know what I mean. Anyway, on you, Steve-O.
Yeah, let's hope his missus is impressed.
That's right. She'd be like, well, I know where you're sleeping tonight with the car.
Yeah, too bloody right. He's probably going, yeah, too bloody right. So do I.
That's right. Hey, So next week on the show, we're going to be bringing Holly Fowler on the show. She's works for one of the radio stations in Tassie. Great girl. She's going to tell us a little bit about Tinder and her experiences of Tinder during COVID, which is I mean, I've heard the stories. It's quite funny. But I heard a story. It was on a show last night we were watching, and the FBI were on this show. And I know it was made up, but let's face it, right? Art imitates life. Okay, so the things that you hear on these shows probably aren't that far-fetched. And the CIA agent on the show was talking about how they're using Tinder to do dark web deals. And simply because Tinder has end-to-end user protocols. So what that basically means is that there's nothing in between them and like one user and another user, right? You can actually set up a profile on Tinder as a fake profile to do whatever deal you want to do. And there are other profiles on there as well to do these dark web deals.
So does this mean what you're saying is if I wanted to buy like a bulk batch of shrooms, all I got to do
on
is
Tinder.
Create a Tinder profile with a photo of a completely different fella with a stiffy, and and go and order my shrooms online.
Yep, and it's simply you've put something in your like a trigger in your description that lets other people know.
Right. Like the dick pic or?
No, with a hat on maybe. I don't know, you're doing shrooms, right?
Everybody loves a dick with a hat on.
Yeah, that's right. This is my mushroom.
So people are using their Tinder profiles for backroom dark web dodgy deals.
Yeah, yeah. And I started thinking, what other apps are out there? And I mean, are our kids safe playing video games? Like, let's face it, right? I don't know whether your boys are into Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, look, that is actually one of the games that I didn't want in the house, and I made it clear to them about that. And they have actually respected that, even though they're now, 16, 17, 18, like they're big bullfeds themselves. And look, who knows if they've played it at a mate's place and stuff like that.
And so what happens in Grand Theft Auto is that you can communicate with the other person that you're playing with, right? And you can go on quests and things like that with them. But the question is, do you really know who they are? And so you can use GTA as a hookup for all of these illegal deals and illegal activities.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Sounds dodgy as fuck, but I could see how it could work.
Yeah, yeah. So
it's a funny thing. I never really – they say the dark web is like 95% of the actual internet. The actual vast amount of the internet that 95% of the people actually use is less than 5%. But it's just I wouldn't even know how to access the dark web. I know there's this thing called Tors or torrents or something like that.
You open up a browser called Tor, and Tor, what it does is it changes your IP address when it opens it up, right? So it hides you. And then there are onions, and those onions are websites.
Like Shrek?
A bit like Shrek, a little bit.
Ogres are like onions. They've got layers.
Nothing like that. And the onion, is a website where you can go to find out things. And that's as far as I know. If you're listening,
just in case you're looking for a hitman for the guy next door, or
whatever you want. You think
you want
about
some
it.
more shrooms for your omelette.
You can get whatever you need. Anything. Like you think about it. Anything. If you've thought it, it's there. Even if you haven't thought about it, it's probably still there.
Dirty pair of dodgy undies?
Oh, they're there.
Yeah.
One's from prison. They're there.
I was thinking of selling some of my undies and stuff like that, but I'm not too sure there was actually a market for because they're dodgy as fuck.
There might be some desperate and dateless looking for it. Who knows?
Yeah, that's right. But you know what? Talking about undies, and these are good undies. These aren't the dodgy ones. one of my boys came up to me today and said, Dad, those undies you got me from Man Up Down Under, they are top shelf stuff. And he just loves them. They feel fabulous and stuff. So I'm off to go and buy another few weeks' supply because I need to get a week's supply now for every lad in the house. And I've already got my week's supply. So these things, they are amazing. Well, they're comfortable and they breathe and they're so light. Most of the time I feel like I'm, commandoing it everywhere I go, which
nice.
Turns me on a little, I've got to admit.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? What I love about it more than anything, right, is the fact that the guy that actually created them, Ross, is just a guy like you and I, just showing you that it can be done, showing you that if you have an idea, you can. So more than anything, even though they're comfortable, even though they're made of bamboo, you should go there and buy some because you're supporting a guy who is just like you. Right.
Exactly. A guy from the earth. He's a labourer himself.
Yep.
He knows what it's like to do a hard day's work. So you need to go to manupdownunder.com.au, order yourself a week's supply. And for those ladies that are listening and stuff, pick up a week's supply for your man's package. And I promise you, you'll be as happy as my wife is. So manupdownunder.com.au.
Cups your junk like the soft hands of an angel. This is the Bad Boys Podcast.
Welcome back to the Bad Boys Podcast. Chainsaws, mate. Chainsaws.
Chainsaw? Okay, that's random.
Chainsaws.
Yep. I think I need a couple in Tassie. Or one. I'm a sim, though. Sure can you imagine a sim using a chainsaw? I don't think so.
I think it'd be like the Sim Chainsaw Massacre is what it would be. But did you know why chainsaws were invented?
To cut wood.
No. They weren't invented to cut wood. They were invented in 1780 by an orthopedic surgeon to make it easier to actually do hip replacement.
No.
Seriously.
No.
They were invented to cut through bodies.
You're shitting me.
No, not at all. See, the interesting thing is what a lot of people don't know about me, and they now know that I once used to play the clarinet in the church band in a lemon yellow suit, and I'm not too sure whether that was directly responsible for the plunge in our listening-ship figures.
I was wondering about that, yeah.
Right. A lot of people don't know about me is I don't have an issue. I have no issue with gore and stuff like that. I never have had. And the reason being, this is going to catch everybody by surprise. The reason being is I actually grew up from quite a young age watching orthopedic surgery videos. So I used to watch videos at the dinner table, mind you, because my mother was an orthopedic nurse and she had to stay up on all of how each doctor wanted their particular setup and how they practiced, the hip replacement, the knee replacement, the amputation, all these different things. And she used to bring him videos home all the time. We used to sit and watch them while eating dinner and chat about these videos of bodies being carved up and all that sort of stuff. So,
and then you progress to, actual dismemberment.
It's an interesting thing when you really think about
it. Don't just sit there and say nothing and nod when I say something like that. You're supposed to say, no, mate, no.
I'll just let the silence fuck with their heads. But yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, it doesn't. And look, another interesting fact about me, this only a few people actually know this too. I actually have a weird thing about me, about my body particularly. A really weird thing. And that weird thing is I can't feel things break my skin.
Really?
Yeah, so it's this particular thing, and I can never remember what it's called, something nociception or whatever like that. But what it actually means is it's almost like the nerve endings don't reach my skin layer. So I can cut myself and not actually feel it. The first thing I know about it is, someone says to me, or I notice the blood, or I taste blood in my mouth. I taste the metallic thing in my mouth whenever I cut myself.
Have you? What if someone punches you? Can you feel that?
Oh, right. So banging my shin on a coffee table turns me into a fucking little bitch of a girl, and I bloody roll around on the floor. Right. So the interesting thing is, it is literally just the skin layer. So, for instance, when I go outside with a whippersnipper and I'm, whippersnippering weeds or whatever like that, one, I've got to be fully dressed. I can't just do it butt naked because, first of all, that'd be weird as fuck. But afterwards, I've got to be careful how I get undressed, because if the needles from the thistles and stuff like that have gotten into my skin, I have to actually run my hands all over me to make sure I don't have, bits in me, because I don't feel it, you see. And it's odd. It's really, really odd.
I'm just thinking of you standing there naked, running your hands all over yourself.
Well, each to their own.
Looking for bits.
There's probably a few videos on Pornhub you can watch that's will help you with that. But the interesting thing, I just assumed all other humans felt the same. And then I used to see these, things on television or friends that were afraid of needles and all this sort of stuff. And I said, why are you afraid of needles? You can't even feel it. You are?
If you were being tortured, right? If you were being tortured and someone was like pulling your fingernails off.
Right. See, that's a slightly different thing. So I'm talking about cuts or breaking of the skin specifically. So instance,
they could slice and dice you?
Right. So in theory, the whole death by 1,000 cuts, yes, I'd probably bleed out like any other normal human being would, in that old torture technique, but I wouldn't actually feel the cuts themselves.
Yeah,
so I once had a double herniated lower back discs. So double herniated discs. So 2 of them. It stems back to my big snowboarding accident 18 years ago when I broke my back, right? But I said to the guy who was giving me a shot of steroids into the herniated disc area, and they use a CAT scan and a big horse needle, I said to him, mate, you got to tell me when you're putting the needle in so I don't move around because I can't feel it. And he thought I was just being a fucking superhero, right? Wow. And he said to me, I'll anaesthetise the site. I said, you don't need to. Like, just give me the bloody needles and stuff. Anyway, the needle was in, and it was literally in by an inch. And this is a horse needle. Like, this is like a millimetre or 2 thick. These things are monsters.
This is like getting an epidural. Basically.
Yeah, well, it's a steroid shot into the area which reduces the inflammation, which then takes the pain away because the pain's caused by the inflammation, pushing on the nerves and all that sort of stuff. And nerve pain is a different type of pain. It's a pain that's inside you that you can't stop. Anyway, I remember seeing the CAT scan screen and saying to him, all right, just let me know, because he's behind me doing it. Let me know when you're putting the needle in. And he paused for a second, and I just saw him wheel. He was on a chair. I was on a wheelie chair. He was on a wheelie chair because I was with my back to him over the back of the chair, if you know what I mean. He then wheeled around the side of me, staring at me, thinking, how does this guy not know that he's already got a needle inside him? And he's looking at me. What? What are you doing? And he goes, the needle's already in there, mate. And I went, I told you, mate, you got to tell me so I don't move around because I can't feel it. Anyway. He then he gave me a second one because he wanted to test it out again, which was fine by me because it means I got 2 shots into the back, which was fabulous because it got rid of the pain. But yeah, I can't feel things. So people give me needles or they pinprick me. So I could go to a club and some incredibly hot, 5 or 6 really beautiful sex-craved women could needle me with a date rape drug or something like that so they could have my way with me all night. And I wouldn't know.
And you wouldn't even know. Well, there you go.
Right.
So that's one for the ladies, isn't it?
That is one for the ladies. Absolutely. Right. Yep. So I used to watch people getting carved up on the operation table as well when I was young.
Wow. That's just freak. I don't even know how we got onto that conversation. That was just...
Chainsaws.
That was chainsaws, yeah. Chainsaws. Wow.
Invented by orthopedic surgeons to make surgery easier. You should see the tools that they've got. Yeah. It's like a whole Black & Decker factory in those orthopedic theatres.
Wow. Someone you don't want to let loose on them is Scott Morrison.
Oh, fuck me. I'm sorry. That guy goes from arse hat to worse every single day.
I'm just like every day. It's like he's like the gift that just keeps on giving.
Right.
Isn't he?
What?
It's like he's just his own one-man comedy show.
Right. So I tell you what, his work experience is now coming to an end. So he's been doing work experience as PM because I'm telling you right now, he doesn't have the skills to be a proper PM. So that's almost over, right? Because we've got the election coming up. There's not a chance in the world he's going to get through again.
Albanese, is he going to step in?
Well, see, that's the thing, because then we'd have a Prime Minister called Anal in the same way Scott Morrison's called ScoMo. And I just think that's either really, really wrong or really cool. I haven't quite figured out yet. But The thing about Scott Morrison and his work experience, he's been then doing other bits of work experience to try and connect with the people. And I think is secretly, and I've heard this from the back halls of Parliament, he's secretly trying different careers out to see if he could like it. You know, like kids do work experience in high school. So first there was the hairdresser.
Spend a day with...
So remember, he went and washed that lady's hair and stuff like that. I'll tell you what, I bet you she had to go out and give herself a good hose down with a fire hose afterwards, because that would have just felt fucking creepy as fuck. So then he went to do the welding. Now, for those who haven't seen the welding video, I'm telling you right now, I'm not too sure whether our Prime Minister has eyesight anymore. I think he is now technically fucking blind after being inches away from a welding, and he lifts the welding mask up to weld something. And I tell you what, he wouldn't have been seen much for a few minutes after that at the very least.
No, because he's had the welding mask down the whole time, and then he lifts it up just as he starts welding.
Right, exactly. Like appalling.
Like the video is actually on Bad Boys' Facebook page, official Bad Boys podcast.
That's right. I posted on there just because I thought it was hilarious. So word is from the back halls of Parliament is that next week, and Bad Boys is going to be covering this off as well. It's really, really important that we do cover this off, because I think everybody really, really needs to see it, right? So next week, he's actually going to be visiting his local proctologists and also the local Thai massage boutique. Because you know how when parents say, oh, mate, you should go and give this a go. You know, you're really good with your hands. Or maybe you should take up sales because you're really good at talking to people. Well, apparently, Scott Morrison's friends and family have actually been pointing out to him what the rest of Australia's been trying to point out to him, is that he needs to go down to his local proctologist and check that out, because apparently he's full of shit, and he needs to go to the Thai massage boutique because he's an absolute wanker. So you heard it here first on the Bad Boys.
There it is.
What a fucking turkey. I seriously can't believe he's our Prime Minister.
Neither can I. Yeah, neither can I. It's just, you can't even believe that we have a Prime Minister that is like that. I mean, Boris Johnson, I mean, like, you know, yeah, he needs a haircut, you know.
And look, Trump's a turkey Scott too Morrison and stuff like that, but at least he remembers who he is.
What is wrong with this world? Like, let's just put the worst possible people in power.
You know what it is?
Just to show how fucked we are.
Right. Whenever we're pushed too far in one direction, it's very natural to, when the pressure builds up, something snaps, and then we flip all the way to the other side before stability comes back and you end up somewhere in the middle. So, you know. So
we had Turnbull.
Well, Turnbull, I actually didn't mind Malcolm Turnbull. Look, I have historically been a Liberal voter over the years. I haven't been able to vote for them for a couple of elections now, and that's all because of their bullshit misogynism and their bullying and stuff like that of women in Parliament. I just think it's disgusting. And anybody who thinks that's acceptable and stuff sure as hell is not a leader in my eyes.
It's not.
But, you know, one thing I wanted to announce for next week as well, we've actually got a really special guest coming on board, and I'm really, really looking forward to talking to him. Leo Sayer coming on the show, the man himself.
I am super pumped for that. Super pumped.
That's a hoot. A hoot. I think I'm going to get into my best Lycra G-string outfit and leg warmers. And
some spandex.
And everything like that. And all because I know he's not Richard Simmons, but everybody confuses him with Richard Simmons, despite the fact that he's, you know, Leo Sayer's the actual legend in his own right.
You know what? I just can't believe that he is, you know, his late 70s, still producing music, still doing the whole disco sort of vibe. I just love it. I love it. This guy is just like he almost has never aged. He always looks the same.
Yeah, right.
Just a little older.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he makes me just feel like a thoroughly old man because I'm probably half his age and probably half as capable now as well.
And he also does some rather daring things, because what he's done with his new album, which we'll be talking with him about, is that he has just redone a whole album of Beatles songs into a disco vibe. So, you know, take that however you want. You know, you can either cry sacrilege or you can be whatever.
Oh, rock on. I reckon that'll rock.
Yeah, look, you know what? I think he's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that interview.
Rock on.
The other thing I can't wait for is, and we've got tickets to give away for this. There is a tour that's happening called Under the Southern Stars. Now, I can't wait for this. It's got Cheap Trick, Bush, Stone Temple Pilots, Black Rebel Motorcycle Club, and Rose Tattoo and Electric Mary. And wait for it, if you are in South Australia, it's part of a bigger festival. I think it goes for 2 or 3 days. And there is going to be the Super Jesus, Killing Heidi, the Bad Loves, Dallas Crane, the Black Sorrows, Flying Colours, and German.
Bonkers.
I mean,
bonkers.
Oh my God.
That
so yeah,
is
you've got to
crazy.
check this out. Head over to underthesouthernstars.com.au to find out all the information. But head over to Official Bad Boys podcast on social media. And also head over to our website which is
badboysfm.com.
because you can go to see this for free. We're giving away 5 double passes to Under the Southern Stars. Andrew's going.
Yeah, I'm going to go and catch
I'm
them
not.
out at Wollongong. I think it's
Yeah,
on
awesome.
later in March. Yep.
This has been 2 years, or even longer than 2 years. They started working on this in 2020, just before the. In fact, I think they announced it in 2020, and then
Yep.
COVID hit.
Yeah. 3 years in the making.
I can't believe it's
going to be huge. Look, I'm just excited to get out there and just hear some live music again and just let loose a little
Yeah.
bit. I'm pumped.
First international acts coming through the country since COVID.
I know. Nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Amazing.
Can't wait. So, yes, they've got their Australia tour happening. Go to the site, check it out, book your tickets, have a ball. Easy.
Watching Rose Tattoo, singing along to their songs.
Bad boys for love.
I'm not even going to try. Thanks for joining us on the show. Make sure you go to our social media. Leave us a comment. Say hi. Throw us up a cat meme. We love them.
That's right. Thanks, everyone.
See ya. Press plus or follow to hear more great episodes from the Bad Boys. Or check us out on our social media at Official Bad Boys Podcast on both Facebook and Instagram.
Bad